that's why John wanted to put it out, because he wanted people to see just how far we went from Duran Duran. I've been sober 44 years, so they weren't. And then suddenly he listened to it, John, and he called me up and he said, "You're not going to believe what these live shows sound like. You've got the horns, you've got the girls, you've got an incredible rhythm section, you've got Andy Taylor, you know, and you. It's so rocking."
This is not a test. This is Play That Rock and Roll. I'm your host, Joe K., and today our guest is singer, actor, radio host, jack of all trades, Michael Des Barres. Michael returned to the show to promote the release of the first ever live album from the Power Station, a supergroup he fronted in 1985 when original singer Robert Palmer stepped away. Power Mad, Live at the Spectrum, is going to be released on vinyl as part of Record Store Day 2026, and it is at the very top of my must-get list. In this interview, we talk about the crazy summer tour that this album is pulled from, what it was like fronting one of the biggest supergroups of the 80s, and what he had to do to win over an audience that was expecting someone else. We also discuss a single he's released, which is part of an upcoming album he has in the works. If you'd like to learn more about Michael, you can check out his website at michaeldesbarres.com, and you can also find him on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also tune into his radio show, weekdays 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time on Sirius XM Channel 21. And with that, here is my interview with a man of many talents about the upcoming Power Mad, the Power Station, Live at the Spectrum, Michael Des Barres. We are here today with singer, actor, radio host, jack of all trades. I've called him before, Mr. Show Business, Michael Des Barres. Good to see you again, man. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It really is. I had a lovely time with you last time, and we will again. And I have said that phrase in the past in different circumstances.
Right. I'll take this circumstance.
Yes, you certainly will.
Right. Last time we talked about that awesome 70s covers album you put out. Today we are here to talk about an album that is a Record Store Day exclusive for 2026. It's called Power Mad, Live at the Spectrum, and it is a long overdue Power Station live album. How awesome is that?
It's awesome, and it's a wonderful story too.
In 2020, when I still used Twitter, Duran Duran tweeted, "If you had a time machine and could go back to any Duran tour, what would you want to see?" And I responded and I said, if I had a time machine, I would go back and see a Power Station show. And I don't have a time machine, but I think this album might be as close as I can get to that. Is this new record sort a time machine of sorts for you? Does it take you back to that summer?
No, it never went away.
Oh.
You know, because they're great musicians. Robert Palmer, brilliant singer, one of my friends, you know,
Yeah.
R&B brilliant, God rest his soul. But the vibe about me is I'm a rock and roll singer. I'm not an R&B singer. There's a big difference. It might sound like kind of trite, but it's a big difference. You got Stevie Merritt, you got Wilson Pickett, you know, I mean, there's different vibes. And I believe in the soulfulness of it all. And they're very, very, you know, John and Andy, incredible musicians, but they've never played hard rock and roll like we ended up with that live album. That live album is a rock and roll album. It really is. It's not like clever R&B at all. You know, I leave that to Wilson Pickett. You know what I mean? But the rock and rollness of the band with horns and with girl singers and a guy singer and all of that, there was like some kind of army up there. And it was great because I'm used to, you know, guitar, bass, drums, and a singer with great hair. And, you know, I'm not used to like girls and dancing around with tambourines.
Oh, right.
I mean, you know, and dancing together. I feel like, you know, I don't know. I know Bobby Darin or something.
Sure. Well,
You
yeah,
know.
R&B. I mean, it also was. I mean, that was what made the Power Station cool. It was kind of that cross between like R&B, and there was that Duran Duran pop element to it as well. Um, this record in particular is recorded, pulled from a show you guys did in Philadelphia, like a month after you all debuted in the same city at Live Aid. So same city, two very different shows for you. What are your memories? I know you've talked about the memories of Live Aid plenty of times, but what are your memories of the Philly show that this record's from?
It was a great one, you know. I mean, honestly, I don't want to sound absurdly, absurd, but the whole thing, the whole tour was amazing. That particular show had something that was really unified. You know, you often get shows with the bass player when I fucking hated that. And the drummers going, what you talking about? It's fantastic. You know, so it's an individualized world. And but that one was perfect. So I can sing to that, you know, when it's all the rhythm sections, then I can scream here and then, ad lib a bit, and because it's so solid. And that one was solid, man.
So that was one where just everything came together and it was like it's a good
Exactly.
representation of the tour as a whole.
Yes,
Oh,
it
that's
absolutely
awesome.
represented it. And the tour was phenomenal. I mean, we had, it was very interesting because a lot of it was young girls, but it was a lot of it too was guys that love rock and roll, you know. And once it had got around after the first like week or two of the tour, then we started to have more guys in there in the front, going, "Oh, it's fun, man," and in some way it organized the whole thing, the band, beautiful girls, exciting, guys really excited about that drummer. Forget about it. God rest his soul. Come on, man. Unbelievable tightness and fun. And I'm in the middle there dancing around and enjoying myself. And because of that, people enjoy themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And where I'm going to ask you about your drummer in a moment because that guy's a legend.
Oh,
Looking back on that tour, it was just one summer, and I know it came through Alpine Valley in southern Wisconsin, north of Chicago, which is near where I live. That's a
yeah.
legendary venue,
Yep.
still up, hasn't even changed its name all these years later. I can't
Right.
believe it.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if you remember that one in particular, but what are some of the more memorable moments of this tour? What are some of the special gigs or things that happened on stage that you remember fondly?
Well, I can tell you exactly. The birth of John and Andy Taylor from Duran Duran into Wilson Pickett territory. So they're brilliant musicians, man. But as the gig went on and on, and Tony Thompson really started, he was like Bonzo or something, And then John went, oh, okay. So then he got into that vibe of John Paul Jones. It was a Zeppelin-esque rock and roll R&B, beautiful, players, and the singers were great, and they came in at exactly the right times, rather than making it so pantomime-ish, as I call it, you know. So it was a beautiful experience to see John and Andy Taylor, rock and roll icons, turning themselves into rock and roll icons where they used to be, Duran Duran icons.
Oh, interesting. Very
Right.
good.
Yeah. So the thing is, there was two chapters in their lives. There was the power station. That's why John wanted to put it out, because he wanted people to see just how far we went from Duran Duran.
Oh, that is a good point. And I know a big part of that evolution was because of the guy you mentioned, your drummer, Tony Thompson, who brought such an energy to that band that, any band would be envious of. I mean, that guy I think is one of the greatest drummers of all time.
And Bonzo, and Charlie Watts. I mean, there's all different vibes, but he could play anything. That's the key. He could play rock and roll. He could play R&B. He'd probably do operas. I mean, he could do anything you wanted him to do, and he would do it. Didn't speak much, just got out there and spoke with those drums.
So yeah, the talent is undeniable, but you're on tour with them all summer. Tell me a little bit about Tony, musicianship aside. What was he like as a buddy and as a bandmate?
Very quiet.
Yeah.
Um, I was, how can I put this? Um, I've been sober 44 years right, of everything.
Oh, good. Well, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so they weren't.
Oh, oh God. Okay.
I'll leave the rest to your audience's imagination.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot. How do you manage that? I mean, if you're the one guy,
I go running. I get the
yeah.
two roadies that are like, they were looking after me for the vibe, and I used to run every single morning.
Oh,
And what, meanwhile, I'll tell you one story. Coming down the elevator and the thing in the hotel, as my two guys were going to go running, and I suddenly realized that John and Andy
oh,
are still up. And I'm there like putting on my little outfit and going out there running, and I'm looking at these two.
oh my God.
And they're the most delightful young people, and God bless them.
Yeah.
You're in a rock and roll. You got to go through that chapter just to get out of it.
Right. And you had done that. You had your fair
Yeah,
share.
yeah. I'd been sober 4 or 5 years before I did that gig.
Yeah. I remember hearing an interview with Alice Cooper where he talked about how whenever he runs into Keith Richards, Keith kind of tries to nudge him back into having a drink or two, probably in a joking manner, but
Yeah,
basically being a little devil on his shoulder.
yeah.
In the 80s, were guys like that around you when they found out you were sober?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm an athletic chap,
Yeah.
so I did a lot of running and weights and all of that, and it was a different vibe. I'd already lived this.
Yeah.
In 1971, as a youngin, I came to New York and LA and stole everybody's Coke and girls. I mean, you got to go through it, man. Not you don't have to go through it, but rock and roll, is that, and it was that in the early 70s where people went dying all over the fucking place.
Right.
And, and in 2 or 3 years, I went, huh?
Yeah.
No. And it was that moment. That one moment that made me realize you're a schmuck if you keep this going. Plus, it's extraordinarily expensive. And then stealing comes up, where
Oh,
you've got this strung out bass player going, sneaking into your room to get the coke. I could make a movie out of this. But it's a much better feeling. And also, if you are strung out and you go out and play for 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, you're letting them down. You're giving them a quarter
oh,
of what you can give them. So that's absolutely not going to happen, for a great show. Even Greg Orman or whatever they really got sober because they wanted to play. They wanted to play great music more than get off, and get out, you know.
that's a great point. And I bring this up because I think it's something to acknowledge is I feel that on this note about sobriety, you are someone who was in the rock and roll scene that was ahead of the curve because by the late 80s, you had Warren Zevon writing a song called Detox Mansion, kind of making fun about how going sober or whatever, checking in, to Betty Ford was like a career move, for
I
some.
loved him. I loved him. I knew him well.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to talk about what you and I are talking about right now. I mean, but then again, we were older,
Yeah.
and John and Andy were 10, but however many years younger than me. And I'd already gone through that wonderful thing of, Coke and girls and hotels and smashing up stuff and all the bollocks that you read about. One minute you think of Keith Richards, the next minute you're Long John Baldry, and then there's so many images of rock and roll, and suddenly you think, well, which one should I be? Well,
Oh,
the which one you should be is you. You don't have to copy Mick Jagger to be
yeah.
great. You don't have to copy him. I had copy him in my dreams, but you're going to be something that you can give to those people. Now, if I'm doing too much coke, there's 40,000 people, and I can hardly do it because of the thing in the throat, and I give a rotten performance. What kind of shit is that? I'm going to get paid for doing that? No, no, no. That's not fair.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, especially with this tour. I mean, that I guess that would be the one thing is like, with Duran's fan base, a lot of younger people, so you got to, try and set a good example, I guess. Did you have to do any interviews with like Teen Beat magazine and all those teeny
Oh
bopper?
yeah, I love it
Yeah,
because the people that do it, are really smart, and they got the gig of doing a youngins rock and roll magazine. That doesn't mean that they're youngins.
right.
You, and usually they're like you, they know from A to Z of rock and roll music, just like you, and they could go on any path because that's the way good journalism is.
Yep.
And when they realized that I was not going to go, yeah, two ghosts the other night, and I've done 2 pounds of heroin, and then I went down and got some champagne, and then this girl came over to me, she stabbed me in the back, and I thought, well, that's all right, it's rock and roll, isn't it?
Right.
But that's all bullshit. It's all pathetic psychological nonsense. You're being paid. I was being paid an awful lot to get up there and do what Robert Palmer couldn't do. By the way, Robert Palmer, greatest singer ever, R&B, still suit, tie, perfect. You know, and the Bing Crosby of rock or something. Just a really
Oh,
talented bloke, and I'm not that.
no, yeah, that's a good way to put it. I never thought of that, with the Bing Crosby combination. I like that. Speaking of Robert Palmer, I got to ask you about a couple of the songs you guys were playing on this tour. I see on the record and in the set list, you guys did "Some Guys Have All the Luck," which of course Palmer solo song. How did that get in the set list? Were you guys teasing him a little bit?
No, you got to remember, I didn't know anything about them. 3 or 4 days later, I was in the band, so they'd
Oh,
already got a set list.
oh, right on. Okay.
You see, so one had to do all of those songs, and one loved it because Palmer. Listen, I loved his songs. Now you can take any song. If I'm Otis Redding and I do, a Beatles song, it's not going to sound like the Beatles. It's going to sound like Otis Redding. It's the same thing with Robert Palmer. Now, Robert Palmer's a gentle, sexy, soft, sort of romantic. I'm not, I say rock and roll is from the waist down. It's a sensuality. And he had the sensuality of a crooner.
Yes.
And I'm not a crooner.
Yeah, so that was a more rock and roll version of "Some Guys
Fuck
Have All the
yeah.
Luck." Yeah, being that it was a rock show, you got to get the crowd engaged. And you must have taken a different approach than Robert or anybody else.
No
But
kidding. He stood there and beautifully standing there, but there's 16-year-old girls that want to jump up and have fun, and me too. I mean, I'm an athlete. I still am, and I have that energy. What happens is if you start looking at somebody that's very confident and is enjoying himself, then the audience will enjoy that guy who's enjoying himself.
yes,
It's not egoic, it's not narcissism, it's not showing off, it's fun. And if
yeah,
you have fun, then those many, many thousands of people will have fun. Now, occasionally in Live Aid, like there was this couple down there, and we were only on for like about 10 minutes or something,
right.
but there's a guy and a girl down there in the front, and she's looking at me with really rapturously. And the geezer is like, goes, "You a fucking idiot, MDB." And I go, "Ah, yes, but who's she looking at?" You know, and then I'd go over the other side, singing my ass off. I go back to that side again, and he'd got a bucket of water,
Yeah,
and he threw it at me, and I'm sweating anyway, and I just undid my shirt, and I went, "Come on," you
yeah.
know, and the girl is going insane, but how could you do that? What? You know, I mean, it was a fabulous moment, and all of this is the biggest show of all time.
I rewatched your performance at Live Aid, and I saw the bucket moment, and that is crazy to me.
So crazy. It was
Yeah,
fantastic. But I got that. But you see, the thing is, I learned a lot, you know, because obviously people came to see Robert Palmer. It
right.
had been so short in him leaving, saying, "I'm going to do a solo album, fuck off." and I came in there, and I was on holiday with Don Johnson. We were in Miami. We were having a great time, and the phone rang, and here I go. I come back to New York. There's John and Andy shaking because they're worth millions of dollars here, and they go, Michael, would you go to London and see Andy? This is the same night. I get
Oh,
in the plane. I go see Andy. I haven't slept in 2 days. I go to the studio where I'm told to be. So Andy Taylor will come in. I waited there 5 hours. He walks in there with two, absolutely extraordinarily heavy and muscular roadies. And he comes in and he goes, and he presses a button. And I go, you get it on, just like Robert Palmer, right? Did you like my interpretation of Robert Palmer right there?
loved it.
Get it
Let's hear a little
on,
more.
very so slow, and it's all so like this, and I'm going get it on, way up there, and it was beautiful. And then they put on a plane that night, and I go to New York. I did a quick, bought some clothes in London really quickly. There were a couple of hours, and then got on the plane, came back to New York, went to the hotel, went to sleep. The phone rang. Danny Goldberg, my manager, said, "You're out."
Oh, wow. Okay.
Palmer's back. I go, okay,
Wow.
I got some clothes. I got some, it's fine.
Yeah.
Put the phone down, packed. 45 minutes later, you're in. Yeah, it's absolute fact.
Wow.
Because
So he
Palmer
was
wanted
he
more
was
money, or he did
waffling
this, or he
right at
did
the
that.
end?
Or I don't know what happened there. I'm just
Okay.
surmising. I think John and Andy said, you probably said a little late in the date for that,
Okay.
because that day was the first rehearsal. So you can imagine where my heart was and my soul was and my emotionality and my career and all these things were going around, and he went away and did his thing, and died.
Yeah.
And I'm very much alive. I'm 78, and I will continue to go on until I'm 178.
Right on. I love to hear that. Uh Man, so it was all that last minute. Was you said you were with Don Johnson, he put out some records. Was he a little jealous he didn't get the call?
No, he's never jealous.
I know.
He's a Marlon Brando. I mean, he is the most confident man I've ever known. And look what he did.
Oh.
Sunny,
Yeah,
Miami.
right, that's my favorite show, literally.
It's anybody. I did three of them.
Yep.
And I got the band to go down there, as you might remember. Power Station were in
Yes.
a program of and he's there. He introduced us on stage when we were in Miami, and he sang with us. I mean, it was really extraordinary vibes because he's been my friend, for God knows 50 years.
Oh, wow, that's great. What did he sing with you on?
Some guys have all
Oh,
the luck.
yes.
And I'm going, yeah, you motherfucker, look at this. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. And he sang his ass off. He's a great singer. He did a couple of albums, but he's such a wonderful actor. And now he's very, very sort of spiritualized.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I have his record. I genuinely like his music stuff
Yeah, it's
as
great.
well as his acting. Okay, going back to what you were doing, your performance. I Another song I saw on the set list for this album was of course Obsession. So it got me thinking, was this the first tour that you were singing that song regularly?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
it really was. I suggested because it was number one all over the world in
Right.
27 countries at that time. And I wrote it with Holly Knight,
Yep.
brilliant writer. And the song just took off. And I thought, hello, I got an idea. And they go, what, Michael, come on. We got to line up at songs and thing. It's called a song called Obsession. They go, what? And I said, I think we should do it, don't you? And they said, of course.
Well,
And
that is
it
awesome.
was number one everywhere. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
What was the fan reaction to that? I mean, obviously
Oh,
it
they
was
were insane because
yeah,
it was so in the moment. It was a top 10 song while we were touring. So the
right.
timing of it was fantastic because they're doing it. This is, why wouldn't they? What it did was It made it more of a moment that was happening right now, right here. This was not planned. It's a big hit, so they must have learnt it quickly. So there was a story there, apart from the song being pretty catchy. It's also had a little life story to it, and the Panthers knew that. We played, the intro. It'd get them
Oh, yeah.
even before I sang it. And the guys that the two girls and a brilliant singer, wonderful singer, they sang with me on it, and it just sounded, you know, good.
That is terrific. That is one of the many songs in this album I am absolutely looking forward to hearing. I'm so glad that this
Yeah,
album is finally coming out
yeah.
from to represent that awesome tour. The cover of the album has a group of female fans out in the parking lot, all looking ecstatic. Was this your Beatlemania?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It was my Beatlemania. It's a great question, and it was just a fun thing for me. But John and Andy are used to it by this time. So, I remember for the first time, it's a great question, from coming down from my room in the hotel and going into where everybody comes into the hotel, and it was packed. First thing gig rehearsals maybe, I can't remember, but it was just packed with people going and screaming and yelling. And I thought, because I'm used to, hardcore guys, playing in metal, but hardcore. And it was just delightful. And I thought, we are going to have some fun.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounded like one of the most fun tours you could have possibly been on,
Yeah.
of the whole decade. So I love hearing this stuff. And as you said, the party hasn't stopped. You're still doing it. You just put out a new single called "Kiss or Kill Me." Great song, great title. So I'll start with this. Can a song be truly great with a bad title, or do you need that title to be good?
The title is everything.
It's so direct, it's so forceful. It reminds me of who do you want me to be to make you sleep with me? Just
Yeah, it's a
direct,
fact.
forceful.
But you know what it is, and it's a great thing that you've seen here is a great lyric is a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So if you take it as a conversation, then you become the lover or the loved. It's always one of the two,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
you're either getting that, you're getting that, and you can sing it because it's you, and they are it. And and it's like a wonderful Shakespearean phrase. The title of a song is 8 days a week. Come on.
Yeah.
It's just clever. It's clever, it's catchy. Dylan is in another chapter.
Oh, sure, sure.
I mean, he's obviously the greatest lyricist in the history of rock and roll. And so therefore you don't count. So, he's off in a whole other thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and I love him to death, so I play him every day. And but the title is everything, man. Like the also the name of the band.
What's the name of the band?
Power Station. I'm saying
Oh,
that you can get the time, the title of your band also has to be as extraordinarily interesting as the album title.
oh, 100%. Hey, detective. Takes one to know one. Also a
Detective,
great title.
right? Fucking detective is great, and Silverhead, of course, makes more. Thank you.
Right.
So,
So
so
this new song is from an upcoming album.
yeah.
How's working on that been? How
Well,
close
it's
are
going to be
you
fucking
with the
amazing. See, what you've got to do if you enjoy what you're doing, you don't even think about will other people enjoy it. This is a lesson I'm telling you youngins out there. Don't expect anything. Enjoy yourselves, write the songs, and play them in clubs or whatever it is, and enjoy yourselves because you cannot force enjoyment on somebody else.
right?
They can only accept it. If they dig it, then they'll dig it. If they don't, you can't do anything about that. So why the hell would you try and get that from the audience? Enjoy it because if you're enjoying it, a certain amount of the audience will enjoy it too, and just be yourself. Be free up there. You don't have to pose. This is the problem with, 80% of bands that I see, and I see a lot of bands and I hear a lot of bands because of my radio programs, and I see these videos, they're all the same. They're all got hair down to here now with the flared trousers. And you go, well, wait a minute. Didn't we do that in 72? You know, and the velvet and the thing and the big buckle and bangs, big buckles and bangs. There's a title for you. And you're just reproducing what we've already done.
Chasing,
Yeah,
right?
you're chasing you're like fans. It's
Yeah.
like a pantomime.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't go back. You can look back, but you can't go back.
That's exactly right. That's a great title also.
Oh, thank you.
Write it.
uh with the new record, is this stuff you're all new stuff you're writing, or is there a
Yeah.
covers or
Yeah, no, no, no.
all new
Although I
stuff?
love doing covers. My last album was all covers. You can get it on
Yeah. I thought you were
Spotify.
gonna do it. Were you gonna do an 80s cover album too, or is that on hold for
Well,
now?
I did a 70s one,
Right.
and then I stopped and I went into I wrote a book, and I really wanted to concentrate on what had happened and not keep going on and playing the music and doing the music. I wanted to take a little break so I could come back with fresh consciousness.
Oh, interesting.
And as a writer, I did that. And then I came back from another side of things. And that's why Kiss or Kill Me, it's so popular.
Yeah.
Why? Because the title is All or Nothing.
Right.
And that people with Stevie Marriott, and that's, how I think you get songs made and enjoyed. We earlier talking of Dylan's titles of his songs was the same thing here with Kiss or Kill Me. It's a great title. It's a title that a lot of people go, how could you possibly do that? How dare you? What are you doing? Think about it. Kiss or Kill. This is
Right.
called sexy. This is a sexuality. I'm going to be with you, and that's it. And that's got a certain sort of abrasion and a certain rock and roll sort of projection, erection, which is the title of my new band. And we're very excited. We're going to go up.
Oh, very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're here all week, and what you're talking about is what rock and roll is all about. So that's awesome to hear. Uh, the new album, and you said a book. Is there a timeline? When can people start? When should people look out for this stuff?
Well, the album is going to come out pretty damn soon
Oh,
because
awesome.
I'm working with this guy from Detroit in a band called the Dogs,
Yeah.
Lauren Molyneux. He is the most fantastic guitar player. And I've played with so many, I've played with Jimmy Page, but he just is so every note you want, you need, and he plays it. And there's nothing, please no, stop, please don't do that. And he plays perfect grooves. And then so I'll hit on that, I'll just sit on that and write. Just right there, what I'm feeling. Boom, 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 boom. Kiss or kill me tonight, And then all the words and they come and I wrote it in 4 minutes. If the vibe is okay in your room, it's very difficult when you're on your own and you're thinking of I've got to write songs. I've got to be better than John Lennon. And don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to be better than John Lennon. You
No.
know, so just be you and write about how you feel.
Right on. That's about as wise words as an artist as someone can say. I mean, that's what we all got to do. And
It's you. I want to hear about you. I don't want to hear about, Noel Redding. Not that he ever wrote too many songs, but whatever. You know who Noel Redding is, the bass player with Hendrix, you guys, if you didn't know.
right on. So, looking back, the album is called Power Mad. It's going to be out on Record Store Day. Any final thoughts? Anything that comes to mind that you would make people want to go out and get it and stand in line? Because Record Store Day, there's always these lines, but I think it's going to be totally worth it. What are your final thoughts on this finally getting a proper release?
I am absolutely, when John called me and I was just so thrilled. He said, "You're going to be a lot more thrilled when you hear it." because he's a real aficionado, John Taylor, and Andy. They both really care about music. So they hadn't listened to it in 44 years, right? Or however long it is. And then suddenly he listened to it, John, and he called me up and he said, "You're not going to believe what these live shows sound like. You've got the horns, you've got the girls, you've got an incredible rhythm section, you've got Andy Taylor, and you." And I said, "Oh my God, I'd completely not forgotten all about it, but certainly put it in the attic." And I went up to the attic and heard it, and I just could not believe. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't heard it.
Oh,
I,
you're
I
gonna
gotta
go
wait till
crazy,
record store day
dude.
like everybody else.
It's so rocking.
Well, I'm gonna.
Everybody is so perfect. Everybody's just so good. And my voice is beautifully put in there. It's not the screechy voice out in front in the middle of a live album. Usually the singer is not on form that night. you know, and I was on form because I was running and I was every night and I knew that this is 2.5 hour, 3 hour shows. And I did ran in the morning and I did my thing and I stayed cool and not blowing coke.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
stupid.
that is just so great to hear, because again, it's something that fans have wanted for so long, and you hear about the tour, but it just wasn't. The bootlegs don't do it justice. We want a proper live album.
Yeah, and
You know
people deserve it. You know,
exactly.
and John is very, very aware of his audience.
That's
He
great.
really cares about them, and that's how the record was created. Andy's not very well, and John clearly is very well, and he's a smart guy. And I got him sober, to be candid with you, and that was a connection that we had that is a lot different from Chuck Berry. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't think I would have gotten Chuck Berry sober. I don't think
Tall
that would.
order.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I guess. Yeah, if you had the
Yeah.
chance. All right. Well, as always, this is such a joy talking to you. Hilarious,
Ah,
insightful, rock and roll. And we got a tease for the future. I'm so happy that you've got new music and that you're still out there doing it because, I can't get enough rock and roll. And you're one of those guys who's just living that, what it's all about. So thank you so much for your time and your stories, man. It's really good to see you.
it's lovely to see you always, man, and I hope to see you again when the album comes out because it's going to rock. It's going to rock, and we need it. We need it. Simplicity, clear, sexy, and I can't wait to get into it, man. I've written the thing. Now we just have to go in and record it. So it'll
All
be there
right.
soon. And listen to my radio program if you like. Little Steven's Underground Garage, Sirius XM Channel 21. It's on in the morning on the East Coast, in the evening and the West Coast.
Right on. And you won't be disappointed because Mr. MDB, Mr. Show Business, knows his rock and roll. So definitely tune into that. Okay. Thank you so much, man. This was awesome.
Thank you too. You're a good man. God bless, and I'll see you out there somewhere.
Hey, thanks for listening. There's no shortage of great content out there, so you choosing to spend some time listening to this show means quite a lot. If you're so inclined, please give this podcast a 5-star rating and a positive review wherever you get your podcasts. And share our links wherever you can. Or mention this show to anyone you know looking for a podcast recommendation. All of this helps us out a great deal, and I appreciate it. You can connect with us on social media too. We are at Play That Podcast on Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, and even TikTok. Or we are at Play That Rock and Roll on YouTube and Instagram. Please post a comment and say hello. Finally, Play That Rock and Roll is a proud member of the Pantheon podcast community. So if you're looking for more music podcasts beyond this one, trust me, start with Pantheon. You won't be disappointed. Otherwise, I appreciate any and all efforts you take to support us here at Play That Rock and Roll. Be sure to join us next time for more great music and stories from the world of classic rock.